Welcome to our presentation. And today's presentation, we are going to draw from Alice Bailey's From Intellect to Intuition. And she writes that illuminated people have, through the ages, testified to the same truth. You can achieve through direct experience, divine realities, transcendental truths, and that nature extends to other worlds. And through deep meditation and the discovery of the self through spiritual and mental education, we can achieve these experiences. Now, this is also known as transcendental meditation, or through regular deep meditation. There are a variety of names for this ability, for this practice, for this journey. And yes, if you can take it upon yourself to examine different religious practices, and I don't necessarily mean read a book on comparative religions or take a class on comparative religions. Those books cover enough information and everything, but they typically focus on the differences from each religion. And I read Archie Baum's The World's Living Religions, and he gave me an understanding of Buddhism, Zen, Christianity, Islam, Judaism. They give you a good understanding, but they typically focus on what separates one from the other. And in my opinion, this is the wrong approach. Life should not be about division. Life should be about inclusion. So if you read on your own, if you investigate on your own, and instead of asking the question, what separates this religion from that religion and this one over here, if you don't focus on that, if you focus on what do these religions have in common, what do these practices, what do these teachings have in common? And you will discover that they all, at the core, have the same truth. The same truth in them. And that truth is going to be love. And the way I describe love as nurturing. Each of these religions, at their core, they teach us to nurture each other at the core. And it is when these religions organize themselves through doctrines and practices and such that they move away from that core teaching and become something entirely different, become something that imposes their will upon others. And this is not what any of that is about. It is not what any of it is about. The Christ taught us to love our neighbor as ourselves. In the Old Testament, I forget where, but in it, there is a passage that tells us that God will no longer be known as Lord or the overseer, but will become the husband, will become the nurturer. And we look at other religious practices too, before, or those religious practices that do not have doctrine. And those tell us the same thing. to care for each other, to not impose ourselves, to not wrong other people. They all have this teaching in common. And she goes on to write that the emotional aspect of the self experiences pleasure, pain, moods, and emotional reactions to life ranging from worry to desire. This is normal. You are supposed to experience these things. Yes, life can be painful. Life can be pleasurable. And we experience life in between all of those. So, such is the normal condition of life. These are the normal experiences of life that we must endure. And from the time we emerge from the womb, we are controlled and manipulated through these very emotions that we must experience. We react to everything through blind emotion. And what I mean by blind emotion, we do not consider what the cause is. We merely react. You get poked, we react by striking out against that which poked us. We feel pain, we react by striking out at that which creates the pain. Now, this is blind emotion. We don't consider the cause or why, because if we took the time to consider this, then we would discover that we're the ones causing the pain. And because we don't take a moment to contemplate the cause, other people, the term is push our buttons. Other people push our buttons and cause us to react, when if we would just take a moment in consideration, think about what it is that they are doing to us. If they are pushing our buttons, why are they pushing our buttons? And more importantly, why do we have to react the way they want us to? Consider that. Our emotions are our weakness. And they are our weakness because we do not understand them. Our emotions tell us what's happening with us. They tell us there's a problem here. They tell us that this is where we should be going. They tell us to get out. They tell us to move forward. Our emotions carry messages. And it is our responsibility to discover what those messages might be. And we do this through developing our mental capacities, because if we don't discover how to think, and I mean think critically, then we are a slave to our emotions. We are a slave to ourselves. It's not the other person pressing our buttons that is controlling us. It is ourselves allowing them, surrendering to them, giving away our power to them. It is us who are the problem, because we don't take a moment to think. We don't take a moment to consider what is the cause of what is happening. And for us to do this, we have to explore ourselves. And meditation is about self-exploration. You rest Some people rest with their eyes closed. Some people rest with their eyes open. But you rest in mind. You do not attempt to stop thoughts or stop thinking, because that is an imposition. Meditation is discovering how to accept. And the first step in meditation is to accept those thoughts that are moving through your mind. Allow them to move of their own accord. Allow them to travel through. Do not begin contemplating solutions to problems. No, 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 no. Observe what is happening. And through your observations, you begin to discover that you are the source of your pain. You are the source of your pleasure. You are the source of everything that occurs in your life. And it is through this self-exploration, through these mental explorations of the self, that we discover the stories our emotions are telling us. There is scientific evidence that through regular deep meditation or transcendental meditation, there are many names for it, but through regular deep meditation, the brain rewires itself in a direction of peace, in a direction of peacefulness. And you begin to accept what is happening to you. And when what has happening to you is in disagreement with you, you accept that, and then you discover a path away from that. But it's the first step is always to accept. Life is an experiential event, and it is your responsibility to decipher all that it has to tell us. She also writes that we are told that life experience is the inability of the soul to distinguish between spirit and the personality. And that through the practice of meditation do we develop an intuitive perception. And it is this intuitive perception that we discover that spirit and personality, soul, are all one. There is no separation. We have become accustomed to separation, and there is no separation. All that you do, whether you are conscious of it or not, affects all who are around you. You affect, you influence others, and you can influence them in a nurturing manner or in a detrimental manner. And the manner in which you influence them reflects not only back upon you, but they in turn respond to you in a similar fashion. So if you're mean to people, typically people are going to be mean to you. Even people you don't even know will be mean to you because you broadcast that meanness emanates from you. It oozes out of you. And because it oozes out of you, people are going to react to you in a manner that is in agreement with that. Now, there's something for you to consider. You want people to be nice to you, you're nice to them. And by being nice to them, you begin to change. Your view of life begins to change. And that's how that works, because how you see life oozes out from you. And people take that in. And if it is pleasurable, they react in a pleasurable fashion. If it is disturbing, they act in a disturbed fashion, typically by walking away. So, our intuitive perception, it is through this intuitive perception that we discover there is no separation between this physical realm and this spiritual realm or the kingdom of God. There is no separation. They are all part of the same. And as our lack of direction, our lack of understanding of the emotional aspect of ourselves that divide us from each other. And not only does that lack of understanding divide us from others, it divides ourselves from ourselves. When they speak of the conflict within, the war within, it is because you do not understand yourself, and because you do not understand who you are struggling against who you are to be something that someone else wants you to be. And it is through this intuitive perception that we discover the divine. And through regular deep meditation, we experience the divine. And the knowers, these people who formed the origins of different religions, Christ, Buddha, and others, they know this. They tell us that when we have arrived into a new state of being, all that is divine is revealed. And it is then that we can truly participate in the divine. But first, you must learn to accept yourself. You must discover yourself. You must discover what these emotions are teaching you. And you must discover how to think. And you must know how to think in order to investigate, because you must investigate in order to discover. It just doesn't show up like that. No, it does not. You have to take it upon yourself. And through this, you must ask questions. You must seek answers to these questions. And often these answers to these questions lead to other questions. And it's through this investigation that you experience the divine, that you discover not only yourself, but that you and the divine are one, that you and those around you are connected. You are one. I hope I've given you something to consider. And take a moment, like the video, subscribe to the channel. There are plenty of tidbits for you to explore. Thank you for taking a moment, and have a wonderful day.